Okay, welcome back to it, guys. So this is gonna be a new what if. This is what the hell is that sound? Okay, it's just a fucking truck. What the fuck? I'm sorry, but this is gonna be what if Deku had Green Ninja's powers, and this is what Deku's gonna look like, and this is what he's gonna look like when he transforms into Green Ninja, but he's gonna look the same for Frog when he turns into his Frogadier and Froakie. So when he turns into Green Ninja, he's gonna look like this because he looks badass. Okay, so yeah. And let's get started. When Izuku was born, they noticed that his hair was, when he started growing hair, they noticed that it was blue and white. They had no clue. They thought it was part of his quirk. And they went to the quirk doctor when they were able to. So at age 4, Bakugo got his quirk before him. Remember that. And so he always bullied him about it. Because Bakugo thought that he just dyed his hair like that. And they went to the quirk doctor. The doctor says, yes, he does have a quirk. And he says, it's a mutation quirk. And they're like, mutation? And he says, yes. His hair resembles the colors of what he can mutate into. And they said, what can you mutate into? He says, well, this mutation quirk is very strong. And they said, how is it very strong? They're asking, how is it strong? And he says, well, the reason it's strong is because the forms that he could transform into can get stronger and evolve pretty much. And they're like, wait, really? And he says, yes, they can. It looks like it gives him a speed boost in his regular form, a stronger boost, and he could cloak himself, it looks like. And they're like, wow, he's very strong. Inko is, because Hasashi never came. So, damn TikTok. Fuck. Where was I? Fuck. And they're like, okay. And he says, Izuku, do you know how to transform into your first form? And Izuku tries, but he said, no, I cannot. I don't know what you're talking about fully. And he said, okay. Well, Miss Inko Midoriya, she said yes. Yes, sir? Well, we're going to have to run some tests to see how he can transform. Oh, okay. And they walked off. And then after a week, let's say, of them trying to get him transformed, they figured out how. He has to focus very deeply into his transforming. He has to focus a lot to transform. And Izuku pretty much got the hang of his first form, Froakie. And for being Froakie, he's not really that strong. He can move a lot faster, and he's a lot more durable. But really, it's nothing that special that Izuku thinks. But he wasn't listening that it could transform. So now he's at age 10, and he's been working with Froakie. And I don't know any of their move skills, so yeah. And Froakie, one day when he transformed into Froakie to move around, because he knows that with Froakie he could also control water, just a little bit, not that strong. And then one day when he was working with water, he transformed to Frogadier, and he was confused. He ran to his mom, but when he was in that form, he noticed that he was a lot faster when he was moving. And when he jumped, he could jump a lot higher. He was more durable. And he thought of himself as a ninja. And Bakugo knows that when Bakugo saw his quirk at first, when he was just Froakie, he thought it was weak. Right? He says, oh, you're never going to become a hero because you're weak. And Deku kind of thought about that, because he thought he was in the beginning. But now, since he transformed, and Zuki doesn't even know what his full potential is yet. Sorry. he ran into his mom, and his mom said, "Oh, you finally evolved." And he's like, "You evolved? What do you mean evolved?" He's like, "I never told you this. Weren't you listening to the doctor when you got your quirk?" I said, "No, not really. I was just too excited." And she's like, "Can't blame ya." But then she said, "Your quirk, you could transform into, your quirk can evolve into a stronger version of that." And he's like, "Oh, really? How many forms can it go into?" She said, "Well, the doctor said 3. But yeah, so if you're in your second, that means you're almost kind of in a way full potential with your quirk." And he's like, "Oh, not awesome." And then the next day at school, he went to go tell Bakugo, and Bakugo's confused. His quirk can evolve, and he's thinking that that means he's going to become stronger than him. He's like, "Oh, it doesn't matter if your quirk evolves. I'm still the better than you," and stuff. And Deku's not really acknowledging him anymore. When everyone knows, because they've seen him train, he looks buff, and this is what Deku just kind of goes out with. He usually just he kind of wears like a nice, he just wears jeans and stuff like this. He doesn't really look so flashy. This is what his hero costume's gonna look like, just so you know. Where's the fuck? Okay, here we are. Wait, where the fuck? I lost it again. Oh, yeah. So now they're 15, they're into canon, and Deku has learned that he has more control over water. He can actually form stuff in the water, so he can make weapons out of stuff. And Deku usually, since he's not allowed to use his quirk until he has his hero license, always carries around a kunai, the thing that he's holding in the image. That's what he's always carrying with him, just for safety. And yeah, and Deku's just enjoying his quirk, right? He likes it, and everyone respects him more. They don't think he's weak or anything. Some girls like him, but are too scared to ask him. And Bakugo knows that he's getting stronger, but Bakugo doesn't train at all still. He thinks that his quirk is just still superior. And when the teacher was giving out the forms that you all want to be heroes, Deku never transformed. And people were like, "Why didn't you transform when he's pretty much allowed us to?" He said, "Well, I just didn't really want to. There's no point to wasting it." Because he knows that if he uses it, he wastes some of his stamina. So he's always been on runs and increasing his stamina. And everyone knows this, so they're happy. And they're like, "Oh, I see." Because his stamina doesn't drain that fast, but it will if he uses it for a long period of time. And usually if Deku is about to fight or something, he'll usually just use his kunai until he actually has to transform. Because he could just manipulate water just as a regular person. But it's not as strong. It's like how he controlled it as Froggy or Froakie, I mean. And everyone respected it. And the two people that want to go your way, the teacher said, and interrupting them, are Katsuki Bakugo. Everyone's like, "Yeah, that's pretty normal." And then Izuku Midoriya. No one's really that surprised, except for Bakugo. He's like, "You think he's gonna get in?" And everyone says, "Yeah, he's pretty strong." Even the teacher says, "Yes, he probably will. He's really strong. You know this too, Bakugo." He's like, "What do you mean?" And he says, "What do you mean? He's not even strong. He's one of the weakest here. Everyone's weak to me, right?" And he's just being cocky about it. And people are just getting annoyed. And then Izuku says, "Can you shut?" And Izuku just says, "Shut up," for once. And he says, "What?" Everyone looked at him and said, looked at him and pretty much said, "Death wish signed," by looking at him. And and after the day, Bakugo said, "I want to fight you." Izuku said no, but when he was packing up his stuff, Bakugo did a cheap move. He used the explosion to hit Deku. Deku kind of felt sensitive, but he didn't think he was going to. And then he got hit in the back of his head. And everyone saw this, and they see Izuku bleeding from the back. And he says, "You motherfucker," out loud. And everyone's like, "Izuku," right? The teacher says, "Izuku." And he says, and then he turned around and he says, "How the hell are you going to be a hero if you're fucking hurting people that weren't even fighting?" And Bakugo noticed, he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's not like they're going to know about this." And he's like, "What a pathetic fucking hero you'll be." Right? And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, Bakugo." And Bakugo went for another explosion. Deku this time got out his kunai and moved fast enough to get his kunai at the neck. And the next time, and Bakugo, teacher said, "Okay, that's enough, you boys." And Deku put away his kunai and put it on his side, on the back, behind him. And Bakugo's like, "No, Sensei, I'm gonna kick his ass." Right? And then, let's say 2 boys and a girl took him to the nurse's office for his head. Because what Bakugo did made him start bleeding. And he went to the nurse's office and he said, "Thanks, you guys." And they said, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Are you okay though?" He says, "Yeah, just hurts. Just stings." Right? And sorry if you hear sounds in the background. Where was I? Fuck. Sorry. Yeah, after he got done out of the nurse's office, he just started walking home. He didn't go under the bridge, so the villain attacked. So the sludge villain didn't happen. He didn't meet All Might because he knew he didn't really intrigue with All Might. He was more intrigued with Rukio, the dragon hero, because how she could transform. That's the agency that he thinks that he's gonna go under. Right, and he doesn't really care about All Might that much. Right, and what was it? Fuck. Oh, I should have said this. Hold on, I'll tell you at the end. And he got home. Inko saw that he had some like bandages around his head, right? And because wait, yeah, Inko saw his head, right? And then right. Where was I? Fuck, I'm trying to remember. Fuck, I'm trying to remember. Fuck, I'm trying to remember. Fuck. And Inko's like, "What happened? What happened?" And then there, and he says, well, Bakugo just used the explosion on the back of me and using a cheap shot, right? And they're like, okay, right? And right, and the next day, pretty much school ended, so he went to the beach and kept going and worked out. And just kept working out. Right? And he's just working out. And he could see, and he saw a girl that looked like a frog who had her tongue out. I don't know why I'm trying to fucking rhyme. Right? And he was just, someone nice to be training for school, right? And he saw this area that has trash, so he went to go work out over there and move some trash, right? And where was I? I'm trying to remember. Crap, I'm trying to remember. Fuck, where was I? Fuck. Yeah, and once when he was like pushing a car, right, he accidentally bumped into this frog girl. He said sorry because she accidentally fell to the ground. She said, it's okay, ribbit, right? And pretty much he just her up, helps her up, and he said, I'm sorry. He said, I'm sorry. And she said, no, it's okay, it's okay. I should have been paying attention. He's like, are you sure? And they're just having a conversation. And then Deki says, well, I'm going to head out. It's nice meeting you. She said, Suyu. And he says, oh, nice to meet you, Suyu. But then she said, well, my real name's Asui. But since you're kind of my friend now, I can call you Suyu. Hopefully to meet you again. Right? And he's like, yeah, hopefully. See you later. And he walked off. And he kept going there every day for the 10 months. And Suyu also was there. And where was I? Fuck, I'm trying to remember. I had like this fucking memorized in my head. Fuck. Shit. Let's say one day they're working together to push a big car, like a truck type thing, and out of nowhere, Deku just transformed into Green Ninja, because he was in Froggy gear, and she's like, whoa, what happened? And he says, oh, I just evolved to my final form, and she's like, wait, he's like, what? Right? And he's like, yeah, I could pretty much transform into any of my forms, and then he showed her, well, this was my first form, Froakie, and then he transformed into Frogadier, and then he transformed into Green Ninja. It's like, I wonder what I could do with Green Ninja. So now, and he noticed that his tongue's around. So he doesn't know what's up. He's like, huh, I look how I look when I'm gonna have my hero form. And she's like, wait, what? He's like, I already planned out because I'm probably going to get into the school I'm going for. And she says, oh, what school are you going for? And he says, well, I'm going for UA. And I know it's hard and I'm kind of being cocky about it, but I think I could have a pretty good chance. She's like, oh, I am too. He says, well, you're probably going to get in there also. And she's like, why is that? He's like, well, since we've been training together, you've been improving a lot since the first time I met you. Right? And where was I? Fuck. And she's like, oh, thanks, but I don't know for sure, though. He's like, well, we don't know yet. But hopefully we all do. Right? She's like, yeah. And the next time they met, it was the last day before the entrance exam. He's like, well, you ready for the entrance exam? She's like, yeah, I think we should be ready to go, shouldn't we? And he says, yeah, we should. And and I'm trying to fucking remember. Trying to remember. Fuck. Trying to fucking remember. Fuck. And they walked off that, let's say, and the next day is the entrance exam. The entrance exam, he met up with Suyu and they started going, and he accidentally bumped into Bakugo. Bakugo started screaming at Deku. Suyu didn't know what was going on, and he ignored her. He ignored him and said, Suyu, just keep walking, right? And yeah, he's like, damn. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Sorry, I was gone for a little bit. I don't even fucking remember where we were. So, I'm gonna say that they walked inside. He didn't fall or anything. If he did, no, he did, trip a little bit. And so you caught him. And, yeah. He's pretty much just wearing some baggy jeans, sneaker, and a t-shirt. But they all noticed that he has a kunai. Right? So, yeah. And I'm gonna end it there. Sorry this video is kind of short. So, yeah. Actually, no, I'm just, I'm just gonna end it here. See you guys. Happy Christmas. Hey, happy Merry Eve Christmas. Yeah. If you're celebrating today with family, have a good celebration. Love you guys. I'll post tomorrow about probably this one again. Peace out, guys. Peace. Oh, yeah.